My name is Frank Bush. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Code Enforcement Bureau of the Department of Building and Safety. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Building and Safety does in case there are people here that aren't familiar with it. I'm going to get into the code enforcement issues and then talk specifically about these vacant properties. The Department of Building and Safety handles issuing all the permits and does all the inspections on new buildings being built, additions, remodels, whether they're homes, apartment buildings, or commercial buildings. The Code Enforcement Bureau handles all the enforcement of building codes, the electrical code, maintenance of plumbing, heating, those things throughout. Apartment buildings are handled, enforcement is handled by the Housing Department, LA Housing Department. With the exception of if you have a vacant, open apartment building, Building and Safety handles that. But any other concern with an apartment building goes to the LA Housing Department. If your neighborhood council, if you decide you want to have a community meeting, a meeting about this to spread this word, we'll be happy to come out and present this information to your group. But David Vaccaro is a principal inspector. He is the manager of our citywide nuisance abatement program, which specifically handles vacant properties. And then Gene DiOrio is senior inspector. He is also in the citywide nuisance abatement, and he supervises inspectors that work the area, and they handle them throughout the whole city.
David and Sue.
And then the other one is Gene DiOrio.
Gotcha.
Now to talk about the specific vacant properties. When you turn a complaint into us for a vacant, let's a house is sitting there foreclosed on or sitting there vacant, there is no violation if the property is clean, if the building is secure, and it's there with a for sale sign or not. There's no violation at all. We can enforce it just because it's vacant. There's nothing we can do about it. But if it starts getting excessive vegetation and it starts getting trash and debris piling up on it, you need to let us know about that so we can get out and issue an order on it. If it becomes open and it's vacant and open, the door's open, the windows are broken, whatever that is, we will get out there. You need to call and let us know that. We'll get out there. We write an abate order for the property. We order it to be, this is something that the city of LA has been doing for years and years. I've been here almost 20 years, and I know that we've had this procedure here as long as I've been here. We'll order the property, put an abate order on it. We'll order the property owner to secure it, to clean it up, to put a fence up around it, and whatever needs to be done in there. Now, if they do not do it, and they just shine us on, the city will clean it up, board it up, fence it, paint the boards, and then we lien the property. With the cost of the city has an annual contract for board up, clean up, and fencing, and the property will be charged whatever the fee is plus 40%, and it'll be liened onto the property. So eventually the city will get their money out when the property is sold. There is a lien on there for that amount of money. I'm going to answer questions. I want to get through this and then we'll go through the questions.
I have a question when you go.
I'm going to take questions and let me get this finished and then we'll open it up for questions. So again, remember that if it's secure and just trash and debris, if you turn it, you call it and excessive vegetation. When you call it in, don't say vacant house. Just say, give us the address and say there's trash and debris collecting. There is excessive vegetation at this address. Because we have a specific group that handles the vacant and open properties, to deal with those. They have 5 people that respond to those initial complaints to work the whole city. And we've been getting people that are calling in and just turning it in. They're just saying a foreclosed property on 311 or a vacant building at 311 with trash and debris or excessive vegetation. Once they hear that word vacant, they click a certain icon when they do the report, and it goes to these 5 inspectors that I'm going out. And then they find out that it's not open and vacant. They have to transfer it to our general code enforcement. So it'll save a little bit of time. Just try to remember, when you call, if you use the word vacant, make sure it's an open, vacant building. And we want to get those right away, those complaints, as soon as possible, so we can avoid them becoming more of a problem with the crime activity. You start having people hanging out in them. those kind of issues. So as soon as you start seeing a window open, you know it's vacant, the door's open, front door, back door, whatever it is, just, you know, give it to us and let us know that. Now, we have a procedure on, as I said, on the board up and cleanup on these properties. We issue orders and abate orders. We issue abate order to whoever owns the property at this time, whatever we have on record. Now, sometimes it takes us a little longer to get some movement on these things because we're talking about foreclosures. And the banks take a while before they really officially have their name listed on these titles. That has become an issue for us with our enforcement, you know, throughout. Now, keep in mind, there are some times where these properties are extremes, like, let's say they're right next to a school, we've already, you know, an elementary school or something, we're already generating a crime problem and everything, we may just go out and board it and not wait for anybody. If there's an extreme problem on that site. Not everyone can be done that way, but when there are these extremes, we will deal with them that way. So we do, as I said, we'll go and board them and clean them up. There's oftentimes, we've had some success recently where we've had a couple of houses that were for sale. They've become open. We've contacted the phone number on the for sale sign and say, you know, try to encourage the real estate company. In a couple cases, there's been a kicked in door in the back or a couple of broken windows. They've gone, you know, we've encouraged them to do that because we've heard from a number of the neighborhood councils that you don't necessarily want, and I wouldn't necessarily want a bunch of boarded up houses sitting in the neighborhood because it looks worse. And it is, and if the real estate company is willing to maintain this and keep it up, it's better than, you know, putting the boards on it if they want to. And some real estate companies have actually done this, gotten involved in this manner to fix the window, mow the lawn, keep it up while their for sale signs up. You know, so that's, you know, we've had a little bit of success with that. It's great. But we are dealing with the issues too of trying to get the people that are entitled, who owns them, who's taking them over. And as was mentioned earlier, John mentioned the state $1,000 a day. It's not something that we have yet. It's a tool that we may have in the future, in the near future. I don't know how long it's going to take. As he mentioned, the council is looking at it. So that could be something to encourage people. There's a couple of other things that the city is working on that they're looking into legalities and things like that to try to strengthen our efforts in here. But the main thing I can do is encourage you, as soon as you start seeing these vacant properties that are open, get those complaints to us, you know, like I said, online or give us a call. Now, keep in mind that if it's just vacant and it's secure and the grass is growing, we can issue an order on it, but we can't go mow the lawn. If it's piling up trash, we can't go pick up the trash on that. In order for us to get our contract, the city contractors, it has to be open and vacant. That's why this is specifically set up for that issue. Now, I'm not telling you can do this, I'm just telling you things that I've heard from a number of neighborhood councils and community members that have looked at, you know, they're mowing the lawns and picking things up here and there to, you know, try to help out their neighborhoods. Those are things I've heard that some of the councils have gotten involved in. But when we issue that order, we'll issue the order out, and often the only contact information we have initially is whatever is on the city's website, our official ownership records. We should order that person. That order often goes to the house where it's vacant. And then we do our best to try to find things. We have, you know, research tools, but it's often we run into dead ends on those things. And the bank hasn't taken them over yet. So keep in mind, just because we issue an order on a secure property that has trash and debris, there's a legal process that we're going to have to go through to try to find them. And then, you know, if necessary, every one of these violations are a misdemeanor, can be charged as a misdemeanor. And we deal with a lot of occupied properties successfully on a regular basis to get them cleaned up. Then we have to take them to court, and the court orders them to clean the properties up. And if not, they could eventually put them in jail. But the vacant, keep in mind, when you turn a complaint in, we can't go out and mow the lawn, and we don't have the ability to clean the trash off the property. It's only when it becomes vacant and open that it escalates.